In this video, I'm going to continue to work on creating these sparklers in Houdini. This is the second video. In the previous video, I already covered how to create the initial sparks coming off the stick. And now I'm going to create the secondary sparks that appear when the initial sparks die. I'm going to start by versioning up my scene, file, save as, version 2. Then I'm going to dive into my system. And here we got these. I need a way of knowing when these particles are about to enter live and disappear. So instead of setting the live here, I'm going to change this to a custom attribute. So I'm just going to name it kill age. So when the particles reach this age, I will kill them. So I'm going to dive inside the pop simulation. And in here, we have this new attribute, kill age. And then on the pop source, I'm just going to increase the life expectancy to something high, like 1, because I want to kill the particles myself instead of using the life expectancy. Then I'm going to check if the age has reached the kill age value. So here I'm going to put down a pop-up, dive inside, and I want to compare the age to the attribute kill age. So I'm going to bring it in with a bind node, bind, and it's called kill age. And then I'm going to compare it. So if age is greater than or equal to kill age, this will be 1, otherwise it will be 0. So let's check it out in color. And you can see how the particles turn white. I'm going to write this out to a new attribute, so I'm going to do another bind export. And in this case, it's going to be an integer. And I'm going to call it kill connected. And in here we'll have a new attribute, kill, and you can see how it becomes 1 in the geometry spreadsheet. And now to actually kill these particles, I'm going to put down a pop kill. So pop kill, connected, and in here I'm going to enable vex expression. And whenever dead is 1, it's going to kill the particles. So I'm just going to write integer at kill. So whenever a particle has the kill attribute value of 1, it's going to be killed. So now if we play, you can see how they're killed before they become white. So now we're at the same place as before when we were using live, but we have this attribute kill. There is 1 just before the point is killed. And even though the point is being deleted here, it still exists just before. So we can put a point to replicate node in here and tell it to replicate points with kill as 1. I'm just going to add another merge node because I want to make sure that this pop kill happens at the end. And if you connect this here, so these nodes will be executed from left to right. So it starts here, then here, then here, and then finally the pop kill. Then I'm going to put down a pop replicate. And I'm going to connect it to my first merge. First of all, I only want to replicate points that are created by this source node up here. So I'm going to use the stream group, this one. And you can see if you check out the input card that you have 10 points in the stream source first input group. In the pop replicate node, I'm going to toggle group and choose the stream source first input group. So this is only going to replicate points in that group. Then I'm only going to emit based on the kill attribute. So I'm going to toggle emit from attributes and set it to kill. And then the pop kill should also only work on the original points. So I'm going to set its group also to stream source first input, because I don't want to kill the new particles from the pop replicate with this pop kill. And now let's play. So we have a bunch of points. All of these points are also put into a group. If we play a little bit. And that is the stream pop replicate group. So I'm just gonna give points in this group some color, just so we can see it better. So I'm gonna put down a pop color. Connect it. We can choose some color that is easy to see, and then I'm gonna set the group to the replicate group, pop replicate. And now we can see which points are created by this node. Now back in the pop replicate, I'm going to take the radius of the replicated points down. Now it's 1 meter, but I just wanted it to be something really small. So I'm going to put it to 0.001, so that will be 1 millimeter. And now if you play again, they are replicated a bit closer to the source points. Then I'm going to go into attributes and take down the inherit velocity. So this is the velocity that they will inherit from whichever particles they are being replicated from. So I'm just going to take it down to 10% of it, so 0.1. So it looks like this. I also want to add to the inherited velocities, so I'm going to choose add to inherited velocity. So this is just a random vector that's get added to this inherited velocity, so let's see how this looks. A little bit more chaotic. And if you want more randomness, you can increase the variance, and if you want less randomness, you can decrease it. And then in the birth tab, I want a bit fewer points, so I'm going to take the constant birth rate down to, let's try 100. So we have fewer particles. And then I also want to take the life expectancy way down. So let's try 0.03 seconds. And now if you play, you got something like this. And I also want a lot of variance in the life expectancy. So I'm going to set the life variance to 0.02. So now these particles will live between 0.01 and 0.05 seconds. And they look like this. If you want to do something more custom with the life expectancy and the velocity, you can create a just born group. But I might just talk about that a little bit later. Now let's go upstairs and let's see how our trails look. Something like this. So they look good, but I want to split up the initial particles and then the second layer because I want to give them a different type of width. So after the simulation, I'm just going to use a blast to isolate each layer. So in here, I'm going to choose the first layer from the source first input node. It's a point group and I want to delete non-selected. And then I'm going to put down another blast node, do the same, but for the pop replicate particles, point group and delete non-selected. So I have the two layers here. And I just want to copy paste these. Just going to move this to the side, paste these, have these like this. And then at the end, I'm just going to merge them all together. So we have the initial ones and the secondary ones. And now I'm going to go into Solaris. And I'm going to pin the view. And I'm going to get back to my system. If we look at the reference, you can see that the secondary sparks are kind of opposite to the initial sparks. They start off thick and then become thinner. So in the width ramp, I'm just going to turn it around like this. And then I feel in the reference that some of them are pretty thick. So I'm going to take the maximum value up. So let's try 0.001, something like this. And then we can make them go even thinner. And then if you want to adjust the ramp a little bit, I'm just going to use the ramp to make them a little bit shorter. You can also go and adjust the life, but yeah. Let's see something like this. This seems fine. So let's just go back to Solaris. I'm gonna save the scene, go to states, and I'm going to render out this sequence again. I'm just gonna take 100 frames in this case. And since we worsened up the scene, we won't overwrite the old files. I'm just gonna hit render to disk. And now let's look at the render. And I would still like to do some more adjustments to the sparks. I'm gonna version up my scene since I'm gonna be changing things. It's gonna be version 3. Then I'm gonna go back to my system. I'm gonna hide other objects. I wanna first focus on the primary sparks, these. I think I want a little bit fewer sparks. So if you go up to the scatter node, I'm just gonna take this down just a little bit. Let's say 600,000 instead of 800,000. So now we have a bit fewer sparks. Then I want to think about their life a little bit. So there is this kill age attribute that they use to kill these initial points. So I'm kind of happy with it. Maybe I want the shorter sparks to live a little bit longer, just to get something a little bit more going in here. And I'm going to pin the view and go into the pop simulation, and I want to work a little bit on the external forces that are acting on the particles. So there is this pop force here. There is some chaotic behavior going on, but I want to increase it. There is this noisy wind, so let's take the amplitude a bit up. Let's try 3. So now the particles are pushed a bit further out. And then I also want them to overall be more chaotic. So I'm going to increase the roughness. Something like this, so they're going more all over the place. I want them to be a bit more directional, so they get pushed to the side a bit more. So let's increase the force. I'm going to double it. Let's try this. And we can look at the reference a little bit. And I'm just looking at the initial particles, not the secondary particles. It actually depends where we look in the reference. Let's add a little bit more gravity as well. So I was taking only 10% of the gravity. So I'm going to take 20%, a little bit more gravity. So it's pulling the sparks more to the ground. I think I'm more or less happy with the initial sparks for now. So I'm going to take a look at the secondary sparks. So I'm going to go upstairs and move the blue flag over here. So we only see the secondary spark from the point replicate. And then I want to change this ramp, because instead of using this ramp to make the particles shorter, I prefer just to change their lifespan. So now what we'll see in the render are these full lines, and it won't be cut off because of this ramp. Let's check out the simulation again. The scene view is still pinned. Let's see how many points we are emitting. Constant birth rate is 100. I think I want a little bit more. So let's say 300. So more points, and I think they are a bit too long, so I'm gonna check out the life expectancy. So 0.003. Let's try 0.001, and for now I'm just gonna take the variance to 0. Maybe we can make them live a little bit longer, something like this. And let's add some variance. So I'm just gonna put 0.01 as variance. So now they have the life of 0.003 seconds up to 0.023 seconds. How does this look? Yeah. Let's check it out with the primary sparks. So I'm gonna put the blue flag on the primary sparks and then the pink flag on the secondary sparks. And then I'm gonna just write it out to a flipbook so you can see it better. let's check the reference again. Yeah, looks okay to me. So I'm gonna go back to Solaris. I'm gonna unpin the view. And this is how the render looks right now. I'm gonna pin the view again inside of Solaris and go back to my system. And in here I just wanna connect one of the layers at a time. So let's see how only the primary sparks look. And we can compare it with the reference. And we can check out how only the secondary sparks look. Compare it with the reference again. I am okay with both layers for now, so I'm just going to connect both of them to the output node, and I'm going to unpin the view. And in the reference we have this light source in the center of the sparklers. So I'm just going to grab this sphere and I'm going to render it as well. So I'm going to put down a null. And I'm going to call it render center. Then I'm going to create a render object for it as well. So I'm going to put down a geometry object. I'm going to call it render center. Dive inside. I'm going to put down an object merge. I'm going to go out of this node, up one level into Geo1. And my null was render center. So we got it here. Then in Solaris, I'm gonna add it to the scene import node. So for this object, I'm gonna press Ctrl and choose render center as well, accept pattern. And then I wanna add the material to it as well. So in geometry path, I'm gonna add the center. So I'm gonna put a space and then slash render center. So now we should have the center. You can see the little sphere in here. Just to take a look at it better, let's put down a prune node. And this node allows you to remove an object. So I'm just going to remove the spark. So slash render sparks. And you can see we only have the little center in here. And then back in the system, let's say that we would want 2 sparklers. I can just copy paste the sphere and move it around. Maybe we can put it here, merge the two together. And then feed both of these into the system. I also want to move the render center node. And now if you go all the way downstairs, you can see we have 2 sparklers. And then in Solaris, we have 2 sparklers as well. I just want to make the sparks a little bit more orange. So I'm going to go into the material library. And in this emission color, I'm going to make it more saturated. Something like this. And then I'm going to render this out to disk. And this time I only want to render out maybe 100 frames. So I'm going to change the timeline to 100. And this node updates because it's taking the end of the timeline. And then render to disk. And let's take a look at the render. Version 3. Something like this. And if we compare this to the reference, and it's good to have them similar size. I'm missing the glow at the center, so I'm going to render out the little sphere separately and then use it to add some glow. So I already pruned the sparks away, so here we're left only with the spheres. So I'm going to put down a karma setup. It's okay. Connect it. I'm gonna set the camera to my camera and set the resolution to the same as my sparks. Then I want to remove any depth of field in case we have it. I also want to move this to up here so I'm not doing the render settings twice. And I'm going to just call this sparkler center. And I'm only going to write out one frame since they're not moving. But if you have them moving, you should render the sequence. And we got them out to disk. You can take a look at it. I didn't make a special folder for it. Now we have the two centers. Back in Houdini, I'm going to create a very simple comp in Copernicus. So I'm going to put down a COP network. Dive inside. And then I'm going to open up a compositing view. So inside of viewers, I'm going to choose composite view. Then I want to bring in my file. So I'm going to put down a file node. And pick up the sparks. Load. And then another file node to pick up the center. I want to give these center points some glow, so I'm going to put down a glow node. Connect it to source. Move the blue flag. And in here I'm just going to crank up the brightness so I can see the radius more clearly. I think I want the radius to be a little bit smaller. Something like this. And then I want to take the brightness even higher. Let's try something like this. Then I want to put the sparklers over the point. So I'm going to put down an over node. And as the foreground, I'm going to connect the sparklers. And the center as the background. Then I'm going to move the blue flag. So we got something like this. You can try different frames. And then I want to add another glow over everything. Move the blue flag. And I just want a little bit, so I'm just going to set the brightness to 1. Something like this. And then I'm going to put down a wrap image output node. Wrap image output. Connect the glow. I'm just going to call this sparkler glow. And then I want to render the full frame range. Now this all is good for now. Later on you can revisit your AOVs or depending what you're going to do, but I am just going to render this to disk. The render has finished, so I'm going to take a look at it. And play. Something like this. And let's compare it to the reference. Yeah, we can try to make it similar size to get a better idea. If we were to continue to work on this, I would try to get a little bit more of these starry shapes coming off the secondary particles. So I might revisit the replicate node, or I might just do another particle simulation that might be easier. So that's it for now. I'm planning to make some more videos for the series, but until then, please, if you would like and subscribe.